This is tech number 913960 with a video in relation to the game War Thunder. The area of focus is going to be mini-map scale reading. As I'm working my way out into the ocean here, working on a stationary target. First thing I want to mention also is that stationary targets, if they're large stationary targets such as this tank right here that I'm using, they will remain visible within the contours of the mini-map even though they're not in so-called a range of detection as far as approach is concerned. As I start to turn myself around and level myself up and begin to approach, we'll be able to see in slow motion when we actually start getting feed from the mini-map in relative distance. The next thing is if it's a smaller stationary target, which will be shown as well on the video, their indicator will not be affixed on the contour of the mini-map until they come within the actual range of the mini-map for so-called detection as far as scale is concerned. So the first one here, it's a large structure, so I do have it affixed on the so-called contour of the mini-map, and as I'm making my approach as level as I could be, we will get a feed in regards to the tripping of range detection via so-called diameter of the mini-map. I'm going to try to break it down pretty much quarter, half, 3/4 full. Being on the contour, it's actually full. And I believe we actually start to get a trip of range at about 5 kilometers away. Alright, so I wanted to mention those factors as well. And as I go along here, after completing the first run at the larger stationary target, which is the medium tank, I am actually going to do a passover of it to show what I believe is the safe zone for a turn ratio in regards to using enemy tracker as well as manual turning, which I believe is about 1/4 of the scale. Okay? So the cone is our pointing direction, the target is dead ahead, and as we begin to approach, a little hard for me to see because of the split screen version of it. I might be able to get a little closer to try to do that so that I can get more of a pinpoint, but as I'm watching it I'll be able to see. See, so far nothing has changed. We're in the general 6-point ratio in the kilometer aspect, and working our way down to 5. Now once we get to 5, I believe we start to get some kind of range in regards to the mini-map, in which we are at 5 now, and as I'm in slow motion approaching, you could see that the structure on the mini-map is actually getting closer and closer to us. Okay? When it hits about 3/4, you would figure it would be about 4 kilometers away. As we're approaching the so-called halfway point, which we haven't reached there yet, we would hope that it would be generally about 2, and we'll see. Okay, we're in the 2 bracket, that's about it right there. Really it was 3, all right, 4, 3. And then when we get to about 1/4, it should be about 2 kilometers away. All right, and as we're approaching 2, that would generally be about 1/4 out, which I believe is the safe zone for a turning ratio on a stationary object. If it's a moving object, if they're coming towards you, they're going to catch you. If they're going away, it's definitely safe. But you would use your imagination in regards to it. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to cross over the target, and based on that information, I'm going to go about 1/4 of the scale beyond the indicator on the mini-map before I attempt to do an enemy tracker turn. And as you will see, it is good enough for the locking on of the target and the ability to cause a good amount of damage. So right there I'm almost about 1/4 out, so I'm going to pitch up, of course, so I don't crash into the ground. I'm going to let the enemy tracker take the full turn of the coordinates, and when I come back online and my plane straightens out, I am at that distance away when I release enemy tracker And I definitely have enough time for attack on the stationary target. I'm going to show that again and do a crossover. Once it gets below me, look at the mini-map anyway. When I see on the mini-map that I reach about a quarter out, which now we know is about 2.0 kilometers out. All right, now I'm doing one short of a quarter, and you'll see that when I complete the turn full enemy tracker, I'm not going to have enough time to adjust on the attack of that target, showing that it's wrong to try to turn on a stationary target, let alone a moving target, hopefully them going away from you or side to side, to allow you to make a turn. So that was insufficient turn space. Here it is, I'll allow for the proper distance now, in which I'll go out to about a quarter on my estimation of the mini-map. Again, 2.0, I believe, kilometers. I'll make an upward pitch. I'm going to run in full enemy tracker. And when I come around, I should be within the targeting range. Still in enemy tracker, and I'm still fully in enemy tracker and I could attack. But remember, if I release, I'll be back further than I see right there, such as that, giving me enough time to unload a good arsenal on the target. Okay, so I wanted to show that. Now, as I'm coming out here, trying to remember what I did, I believe I start attacking the target now, showing, penetration at such a point. No, I try to do the turn on my own without enemy tracker, giving a quarter amount estimated, scale on the map, the mini-map, and trying to do a turn with this craft. Other ones could do sharper performance. And you can see it's definitely enough time for me to get my plane back online and begin attacking the target, which I might actually start attacking right now. Not sure. I believe I do another one, and I don't perform an attack, showing how if you use the scale of the mini-map and you are so-called about a quarter distance out, that you have the ability, let alone an enemy tracker, to make the turn. You also have the ability in regular freestyle to make the turn as well. So here it again, freestyle around to the target, and once I come in line with the target, I should have sufficient amount of time to inflict some damage on the target. Okay. Obviously, planes, depending on where they're going in their trajectory, if they're following you, that's going to be insufficient as well. And I'll go ahead and I'll send out an arsenal. Missed with the rockets, got to get a better judgment on that. And I'll do the same again. I'm going to head out, and I believe I might use enemy tracker here to try to eliminate the target. The reason being is I do want to show on the video also how that smaller structural targets, such as a vehicle that's out there as well, don't remain affixed on the mini-map. I'm doing a enemy tracker turn, possible adjustment within, no, full turn so far, enemy tracker, still in it, release, adjustment, lock on, and fire, giving me enough time to at least unleash a good amount of damage to the structure. I might have to make one more pass on the destruction of it, because I did want to include the aspect of the vehicle, smaller vehicle foundation, smaller structure. Okay, so as I go out to a quarter, I'm going to make an enemy tracker turn, see if I make an adjustment on it. Yep, made a slight adjustment, not really sharp. Enemy tracker still, release, adjustment, get my cursor online, and then try to unload. See what I could do. Okay, target destroyed. So, the next thing I wanted to show for the video is the relation to smaller structural objects. In this case, it's a vehicle. So I'll make the pass to trip the indicator, and then we'll show the foundations. Okay, so we have it targeted, okay, smaller vehicle. And I'll begin to flow out towards the ocean. And as I'm doing that, I'm going to look back, which is up on the D-pad, is the way I installed it, which I really hope will help me a lot in gameplay, detecting enemies, judging things as well. I begin, I believe, to straighten myself out to get a dead center. No, I just made it a visual appearance. Notice that the indicator turns white, showing that I'm pointing in the opposite direction if I wanted to use that as well. And as I begin to travel out, which I'm going to remain this way, you can see the countdown of the kilometers out. And once I reach a destination of what I believe is going to be 5 kilometers, it will actually disappear from the contours of the minimap. And that will even be a double verification on activation of scale reading in regards to the minimap. Right now we're at 3.6 and climbing. The indicator is still present. When we hit 4, it's still present. And I believe when we hit 5, that's the break point, which will confirm what we have investigated in the earlier section. So as we're climbing, 4.89, there it goes at 5. So that's the answer. The full contour reading out is 5 kilometers for any target. And larger targets, possibly craft as well, aircraft, may in fact remain on the contour foundation. And as I begin to extend out, I am going to use a enemy tracker move to regain alignment, flatten my plane out. And as I begin to approach, you'll see that the target, since it was targeted, will become visible within 5 meters of approach. The reason why I showed that is that when you are attacking targets such as stationary targets like that, that other vantage point, which I will go to, is a better firing point. The reason being is that when you're in a third-person view, the bullets are actually below you, so you have to aim a little bit really higher as far as the firing point. When you're in the cockpit, the bullet trajectory is more true to heart as far as targeting is concerned. So as I approach, you can see once we broke 5, we're in the vicinity. You could use the foundation of so-called 3/4 out is about 4, half out is about 3, quarter out is about 2, and that would be the so-called safe zone per turn ratio in regards to it. Now as I approach and I hit just about 2.0 kilometers out, I'm at the quarter zone, using my best feeling of it. And as I approach it, if I shift to cockpit and I address the target, I will have a greater chance for impact and takeout of the target in a cockpit view in regards to a stationary target. Aircraft as well, but difficult to do. You can see I was able to destroy it on one pass. And I want to get that information in a so-called scale gauge in regards to our minimap and other foundations as well. And with that information in place, tech number 913960, good luck. I'm out of here.